Well, howdy, and welcome to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV. I'm your host, Wild Bill, Media Director for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame in Historic Medora. We sure hope that you and your family had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're brought to you each and every week by the great folks at Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Did you know Dakota Community Bank and Trust supports a mobile meat lab? It gives area high school students an opportunity to learn the art of meat processing. It's a 6-week curriculum, and it's for students in ag education classes, and it includes a dozen North Dakota schools. Go to Dakota Community Bank and Trust Facebook page or their website and learn more about the mobile meat lab that they support. We're into December now, and we're getting very close to the deadline for nominees in the Hall of Honorees for the class of 2023. And we're bringing you more sample testimony that's offered to the nominees at our annual meeting in February. We start today with Ryan Hanna, and he is offering testimony for Herb Birdsall, who was inducted in 2017.
I'm Ryan Hanna. I was a great-grandson of Herb through Dean's sister, Gail Meyer Hanna. And like Dean said, he was always grandpa, and I was fortunate enough to know him. I think my first memories are when I was 3 years old. I got the taste of the hard work Dean and Barb talked about, because I got to go with him because I had to carry the medication. So every morning, all through the summer months, well, even before school time, but I got to carry the nitroglycerin pills. We'd go for a ride. Just last spring, I'm not going to say we were cussing him, but we had a discussion about Grandpa Herb as we were fixing some fence that my dad recalled dragging home behind the pickup from some old drift fence some neighbor wanted down. We're still fixing it today, but a word I'd like to use is, as I've grown up and come to know, like Dean said, Herb and the Birdsall Meyer name was, you learn as you grow up, was very well respected around the community, and it was nice to know anywhere I went, you know, when you mention the last name, it's nice to know that people always want to talk about Herb.
I don't know how many people are going to talk for Larry, but it wouldn't take many to tell you that he's one of the best bareback riders probably ever come out of North Dakota. This kid, and I say kid, in 1992 I think he went to his first finals. I was at every finals. I was there every year. He was there. And I was sitting there at the finals this year, and we were talking about him, and he's somebody you talk about anyway. And we were like, we're just trying to figure out who had done what, and some guys had some stats and everything, and I said, you know, I've never delved into the stats, and I do that a lot, but I never looked at them for Larry Sandvick. But this will tell you about Larry Sandvick, because I sat there one night in the media room. In 1992, went to his first NFR, went to 12 straight after that. He placed 58 times in 120 performances, won 13 go-arounds, placed second 9 times, and rode 114 out of, or qualified, I should say, on 114 out of 120 horses.
Rick Thompson testifying on behalf of the wild man, Larry Sandvick, originally from Killdeer, North Dakota, inducted in 2018. Keep those nominations coming in. They must be dropped off at our offices or postmarked no later than December 15th. Coming up on the program today, we're going to visit with Don Schmid, who will point out that he is the only male on the board of the Miss Rodeo North Dakota pageant. We'll talk to Don about that. He's also a judge at a lot of rodeos in the area, rodeo competitor himself, and he's a guy that doesn't hold back too much. Looking forward to our visit with Don. We'll also bring you the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame inductee of the week this week, Tex Appledoorn. And that segment of our program is now proudly sponsored by our friends at Torgerson Auto Center in Bismarck. We thank them for their input into our program. And coming up next, we will visit with the president of the North Dakota Rodeo Association, Nate Horner, who recently held their annual meeting at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. A lot of optimism going into the 2023 season, and we'll get that from Nate coming up here in just a bit. So that's what we've got for a show for you today. I think it's worth your while to sit right down and watch and call the neighbors up and tell them that Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust, is on Beck TV.
Finish Line Automotive Addictions is the place to get any accessory for your vehicle. This winter, protect your truck and everything in it with a new toolbox, custom bed cap, or tonneau cover. Come see us for custom fit floor mats, Nerf bars, and mud flaps. Finish Line has the latest remote start tech with miles of range or smartphone access from anywhere. Let Finish Line Automotive Addictions get you ready for winter at 1824 East Main in Bismarck.
Come on in to Pipe Dreams, where we help make life a little bit lighter. Browse our huge selection of incense and candles. For natural pain relief, we have CBD tinctures, gummies, and creams. Or ask about our selection of quality kratom, a natural herb used for anxiety, pain, and alertness. Find all your smoking accessory needs, plus high-end cigars, pipe tobacco and hookah, and unique posters and tapestries. We have the lowest prices around at Pipe Dreams, your one-stop hippie shop located on the corner of South Broadway and Minot.
Man has worked in sync with Mother Nature since the beginning of time. Relying on her to provide sufficient moisture every growing season is a roll of the dice. You can now insure your pastures and rangelands with Rainfall Index policy available from Chamley Financial. This will give you the peace of mind by knowing you will be protected from the adverse effects of Mother Nature. Contact Chamley Financial today, 719-338-3428, or go to chamleyfinancial.com.
We are rewriting Hollywood's script for our kids. I'm pop culture expert Tina Griffin, and as a former Hollywood actress, I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how today's entertainment is eroding the foundational development of America's youth and how to safely navigate this pop culture chaos. Knowledge is power. Parents want solutions. It's time to get the power back in your hands and reclaim the right to decide who and what should influence your kids.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV. Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.
Hi, Rich from Law Motors. 45 years ago, Dad started selling cars. 35 years ago, I started selling cars. And 15 years ago, Tyler started selling cars.
And I'm Mom, and I told all of them, just be nice.
JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision has built a reputation as one of the most reputable and reliable body shops in this region. With nearly 30 years in business, customers count on JR's to get it done right the first time. They'll work with your insurance company to smoothen the process. From their 40-foot frame straightening machine, Sickens paint, and the latest technology in the repair industry, they're the only name you need to know. For auto, semi, RV, and trailer repair, it's JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. North Dickinson, call 701-483-6778. JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. And we're back on Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV. I'm your host, Wild Bill, Media Director for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame in Historic Medora. We're brought to you each and every week by our great friends at Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We're visiting today with the NDRA President, Nate Horner. Good to see you.
You as well.
Where's home for you? You're in the central part of the state,
yes,
right?
Southeast of Bismarck. We live south of Dawson, North Dakota. That's where I was raised on a ranch down there, and that's home now.
Okay, and you've got a cow-calf operation?
Yes, sir. We have a cow-calf operation with my family there. My wife, Lindsay, is an equine veterinarian. We built an equine vet clinic on our ranch, and so I help her with that. I do some horseshoeing, less than I used to, but yeah, it's just cattle and horses. That's our deal. So.
Okay, you're busy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. Is it a business, equine veterinary business?
Correct.
Then
Yep.
in that area? You've
Yes.
got a lot of folks that come over?
We do, yeah. It was something that we started about 10 years ago. My wife went to veterinary school in Kansas State. We moved back home with the dream of her being able to work strictly on horses. We didn't think it would work at first because of its seasonality of the business.
Right.
But, by golly, she stays pretty busy. So gained a lot of reputation. A lot of people come from a long ways around to see her and let her work on horses, and then me with the shoeing deal kind of grew the business, and we kind of became a one-stop shop for horse owners. I've evolved more into the horse training than in the ranching deal over the last few years, but the equine clinic is still a big part of the ranch as a whole, and what we kind of built our livelihood around.
So you're a rancher, your wife's a veterinarian, you have children.
We have one little girl, yes sir.
How old is she?
4 years old.
Oh my, you're a busy household, aren't you? A lot of moving parts, a lot of things happening all the time.
Yep.
Okay. And when did you start competing in rodeo? Probably in high school, I would assume?
Honestly, no. Like most people, they do, yes.
Yeah.
For me, the ranch was too busy. We couldn't, I played basketball for sports, but high school rodeo was a dream, but it wasn't feasible for us.
Right.
My parents were not rodeo people, and we farmed and ranched and stuff, but actually when I went to college at NDSU to pursue a degree in ag economics, I remember calling my dad and saying, hey, found the rodeo club. I said, I'm gonna try my hand at this team roping deal, because I always wanted to, but they just never had the resources for me to do it, and they said, if you want to pursue it, go for it. But that's where I started. You know, in the NDSU Rodeo Club, didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I knew I could ride a horse, train a horse, and could kind of swing a rope, and so it just grew from there.
I would assume you've had some mentors along the way that really helped you, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Training horses was always my big thing, and I had a local guy there, a gentleman named Schmid, that started putting me down the path of training colts, and it was just the whole horsemanship deal. And when I figured out that rodeo was basically a sport where you can use a horse, man, I was sold, and I just pursued it and did everything I could to be a part of that. But Gar was a big influence in my life to kind of get me pushed down the road of training horses. And rodeo, for me, turned into basically my opportunity to showcase horses I've trained.
And you still compete to this day, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir. Yep. My wife and I both. She runs barrels. I team rope and calf rope. It's honestly, it's our chance to get away from work a little bit. But the rodeo world is our clientele. That's probably a big percentage of who we work on horses for. So we enjoy. I mean, it's a social time for us. But if we just stayed at the ranch, like any rancher, there's always something to do, So we try to use rodeo as our outlet, but it is also a part of our livelihood because we work on performance horses every day. I'm training horses every day. That's our chance to go out there and showcase them and see if what we did is working or find the holes, I guess.
And it's led up to you becoming president of the NDRA. How long have you been on the board, and how long have you been president?
So I've been on the board, I think it's been 3 years now, and I've been president for the last couple. The way the association is set up, you can't hold the office of president until you've been on the board for a year. It's one of those deals. I always tease, I made the mistake of asking, hey, what can I do to help? And this is where it led me. But every organization I've been a part of, back from high school and FFA all the way on up, I've been a part of organizations and boards and stuff like that, and for some reason I gravitate towards the leadership side of it. A lot of it had to do with FFA. I don't desire that, I don't look for that, but I'm not one to sit back. When a position needs to be filled, I'm not one to sit back and say, oh, there's nothing I can do. I'm willing to kind of jump in there, do it. I mean, I've had some experience there. Somebody else, wants to come along, I got no problem being a part of it in a different aspect, but right now that's where it lands me. We've tried really hard to kind of collaboratively put our board in a position to where it's not just me. I mean, we're making decisions as a board, and I've let everybody know that. I'm just in that spot because basically that's what was open. So. That
doesn't surprise me, Nate, because you allowed me to sit in on your meeting for most of the afternoon today, and your leadership roles are to be admired. And some of the things one thing that you said today that really stuck with me is how you want this board to go forward as a unified front and all together. And it seems like everybody left here smiling and shaking hands, and I think you accomplished that.
Well, and that's something when I got involved, I was told years past, I mean, the NDRA's been around for a lot of years, next year will be 70 years and stuff, and as the years have progressed, board members have come and gone, rules have been added and subtracted, and of course there's always different opinions that get involved. My whole deal with the thing is what I want to bring to this board and to the association is both sides to every story. I do that in our business, I do that with employees, whatever it is. There's always another side to our decisions. And I know that. I know I've had to make some decisions on some stuff knowing it might not benefit this person, but it will benefit that person. And that's all part of it. But I want our association to go forward and our board to go forward, basically leaving here enjoying what we just accomplished. I've heard stories of, you know, people leaving here upset and you know, different things like that. And that's any board. That's not just NDRA. That's anything. And I'm not asking everybody to agree by any means. If we all agreed, we're not doing our job. And I think it just comes down to being unified in our desire for the betterment of our association and rodeo as a whole. If we keep that in mind, it doesn't matter who we represent on this board, we're going to be making decisions that are good for rodeo.
Yeah, and I think perhaps the NDRA is probably a better organization this afternoon than it was at 9 o'clock this morning.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You know, I hope that's we can leave these meetings and, like you said, the camaraderie, because that's what rodeo is. I mean, everybody goes up and down the road a lot of times. I mean, see your friends, see your rodeo family. I mean, I don't know very many people that are out here going to NDRA rodeos strictly to make a living. I mean, that's not what it's about. It's more about the Western way of life, you know, good people, salt of the earth kind of people that you enjoy being around, and then in this case, doing business with. I mean, we are a business that we're trying to operate.
And, you know, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame and the NDRA, we have common interests. North Dakota is our, you know, in both of our names, and we're representing the great state of North Dakota. And I think that also carries some weight with the NDRA
absolutely,
too.
Yeah, and that's been brought back to our meetings many times. You know, we've actually been approached from neighboring associations, other states, because of the model we have, and I'm proud of that. I've always said that we're striving to be the elite amateur association in the Upper Midwest. And we've been approached to expand our reach, different things like that. And it hurts me sometimes to have to tell those people, like, hey, our boundary is our state. Because I do see there's probably are some opportunities and stuff like that. But, you know, you start stretching out there and pretty soon you've watered down a product, I think. And I think what we have in the NDRA is extremely sought after. And I hope it continues to be that and continues to grow for the betterment of our contestants, our committees especially, and our communities.
Absolutely. A couple of things that I heard today. You've had a great relationship with the community of Wadford City for several years, hosting your finals. The agreement in writing is done at the end of the year, and you're looking for possibilities for the finals event for 2023. If somebody in a community is watching Beck TV tonight and they're thinking, hey, maybe our community has a shot, is that legitimate? I mean, can
Absolutely.
they put forward a proposal?
Correct, yeah, and we have a letter that'll be going out to committees across the state, but our finals contract is 3 years, and Wadford City's had it for the last couple terms, done a great job. You know, the Wadford City, the community welcomes us, but that contract is up, and Wadford City will be submitting a bid again, but this is the time when we have a chance to bring in other communities that would want the NDRA finals in their town. We do have some guidelines that we have to go by basically to have that type of function, some things that we need to operate at you know, that capacity, I guess, for the finals. So there are different criteria and stuff we have to follow, but yeah, shoot, I mean, any community that wants to bring a bunch of cowboys to their town to spend some money and enjoy the community, I mean, that's what we do. That's our you know, basically our chance to get together and say, man, all the miles we put on, all the fuel we put in, this is why we did it.
Yeah, exactly.
And our finals is very sought after.
Yeah, you know, I've seen what an NDRA rodeo does for a community. I spent you know, the Labor Day weekend in Devil's Lake, and oh my goodness, the people that came out for that was just amazing. So if you're a community and you're interested, just go to the NDRA website online and find the contact information and give them a call or give them an email and find out what you can do there. I also saw, you know, and it's no secret, you know, I hear things, you know, like as far as televised rodeos go, I know there's some talk, you know, and it's got to be right for you and it's got to be right for Beck TV. But, you know, to me, you know, some of the people say, well, that's going to hurt our ticket sales, and I can see where they're coming from on that, but you know, I asked my grandson one time, I said, what do you like about going to the rodeo? He says, I like feeling the ground shake when the horses run by. And to expound on that, I like the smell of popcorn and I like the smell of sawdust in the air. That's things that we can't do on this TV. And so I hope that plays a factor. I hope it comes together. I know it's got to make sense for everybody, and I'm sure it would encourage you.
Correct. And it does. It's one of those things that was brought to us. I mean, our finals, Beck TV does televise our finals now. There are some other you know, streaming providers that have done some other rodeos and stuff. And with other, you know, televised rodeos out there, it's gotten really popular. Where we as the NDRA look at it as, you know, we're proud of our product. we're proud of what we put out there. We've got the best contestants, in the amateur rodeo world. We've got best contractors, judges. Everything about it is a good product to put out there. Where we need to look at it as is we go into these small town communities for regular season rodeo. And a lot of these committees are strapped for personnel, strapped for money. We know all that. And basically, I got to make sure that if we go and we start televising these things, no different than what Beck has done for the high school sports, that we're taking care of those people.
Right.
Because the NDRA is more than contestants. It's more than contractors. It's more than the board of directors. It's everybody involved.
Yeah.
You pull one of those pieces out, or you hurt or make one of those pieces suffer, the NDRA as a whole hurts. And so that's where the discussion with broadcasting some of these things is it's a very serious deal for us, and we're definitely looking into how it could work, what it could do for us. But then also protecting our product.
Exactly.
We're very aware of that.
Exactly. It's got to make sense for everybody.
Yep.
So.
But we're all in favor of sharing our way of life with the world.
Yeah, I talked to Russ Kling here on the program recently. Medora is an important rodeo. That one's really coming up. Every year it gets bigger and bigger. And talking to Russ, I talked to Kelly Abrahamson, and all they want to do is make rodeo better. That's what their goal is, and they want that to be their legacy. Is that something that you can relate to?
Yep, and that's why I have so much respect for our contractors and the committees. The committees and the contractors work together to put these rodeos on, and without them kind of pushing that forward, us contestants have nowhere to go. So yes, our contestants are a big part of it. Without the contestants, you don't have a rodeo. But everybody has to realize that everything we do needs to be for the betterment of the product and what we're doing and the culture in general. I mean, it doesn't take long to look at what's getting popular right now.
Yeah.
And it is, and that's the rural lifestyle, the Western way of life. I mean, people are seeing something that they're longing for.
Okay.
And I think it's something that if cowboys like us can say, hey, here's what I do every day, and they look at it like, wow, that's something I would love, and we just take it for granted, we're not doing it right by them. We gotta show them, hey, this is pretty special.
George Strait kind of wrote a song like that, didn't he? Any questions that I didn't ask that you want to tell the viewers about the North Dakota Rodeo Association?
No, I think we pretty much touched on it, but I mean, for the most part, I just want people to know that we're doing the best we can to bring a product to these small town communities that's good, wholesome family entertainment. And you might know people that are there competing, you might not, but I hope you become a fan, of just rodeo in general. I hope you follow it because by the time we get to the finals, there's a lot of drama involved, and the people that are, this calf or that steer, all they need is one more shot or one more ride. They got to ride this bull to win the year end, and it's pretty cool. I mean, the environment, the atmosphere, I mean, it's all the adrenaline you can handle sometimes,
You just spent 7 hours in a board meeting and on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Your time is valuable. We don't take it for granted. I appreciate you joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Our guest, the NDRA President, Nate Horner, here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust, and we're back in just a jiffy.
Improve your home or business with services from Zaka Remodeling and Construction. Whether you need windows or doors repaired, replaced, or installed for your residential or commercial property, Zaka Remodeling and Construction can help. Our local and family-owned business offers flexible hours and over 10 years of experience in the industry. We are your local Pella expert. Pella is rated #1 in highest quality and innovation by homeowners across the country. Feel confident when you choose Pella and Zaka Remodeling. Contact us today for a free estimate. Zaka Remodeling and Construction.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
I invite you to stop at Dakota Community Bank and Trust and meet our professional insurance agents. They offer numerous lines of insurance, including farm, ranch, federal crop and hail, commercial, home and auto. As an independent agency, they offer product solutions from a wide variety of companies. Our insurance professionals would like to get to know you and visit about your insurance needs.
Serving the community, looking out for you. At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
Medora Boot and Western Wear, open year-round in historic Medora. You'll find quality items for cowboys and cowgirls of all ages. Medora Boot and Western Wear has over 1,500 pair of boots on hand at all times. New this year, the R. Watson brand of boot, featuring an all-leather heel, riveted shank, and a 10-iron leather sole. Jeans, shirts, hats, caps, and more, and customer service is #1. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Lori Hins here with No Apologies on Beck.
So irrefutable that mainstream media has to come out and admit it now. And it leads directly to the president's office,
where we bring you our after-hours oasis of sanity.
I just learned that the 7 dirty words weren't real. He just made them up. Like, these are the 7 dirty words you can't say.
Every Saturday and Sunday.
The importation people can't actually check it. I mean, it's nuts.
On Beck and Beck.News.
Let the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining add to your historic Medora experience. Open 7 days a week. Enjoy family dining at its best on our main floor, as well as the upper dining room and outdoor patio with a fabulous view of Medora and the Badlands. Try the bison ribeye, delicious pizza, and an entire menu filled with fabulous food for all appetites. A full bar with an impressive list of tap beer and more adult beverage favorites. Visit us at littlemosaloon.com and look for live music events happening regularly. History lives at the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining in historic Medora. Y'all come see us now, you hear?
Welcome to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV. I'm Wild Bill, the media director here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. And each and every week, our program is brought to you by our good friends at Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Their mortgage department, man, I tell you what, they get a lot of praise for the job that they do with mortgages, and with interest rates being what they are, that's very important, not just now, but anytime. We're here in the rodeo room at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, visiting with a rodeo guy. It's Don Schmid. How are you, Don?
Thank you, Bill.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You live in the central part of the state, correct?
Yep, I'm just north of Bismarck.
Is that where you were born and raised?
No, actually, I grew up pretty much over southwest of Carrington, over in the Woodworth Hills.
Okay, and is that where your rodeo career started, and when you lived growing up over there?
Yeah, at a pretty young age. I mean, it was one of those deals that you rode everything that had hair or could
And you competed in bareback riding. And is there one ride from your past? First of all, what era did you rodeo in?
I rodeoed from about 1971 until 2008.
Okay. Is there one ride when you're sitting at home thinking about things, thinking about life? Is there one ride that you made that you go back to and think about from time to time?
There actually is, and it's, you know, I had some rides that really come to mind when I was a kid, but I think the one that made and meant the most to me, I marked an 83 on a horse called Moose Milk at the first round of the Senior National Finals in Las Vegas.
How old were you at the time?
I was 58.
58 years old, getting on a bareback bronc. This guy is tougher than nails, holy cow. And that was a ride that you think about, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. That horse blew my feet back up over my head every jump, and I mean, and he just, you know, stalled out about halfway down the pen, and I mean, it was just beautiful. I just loved it.
Did you score?
Yeah, I was 83 on it.
Nice, nice. Good job, good job. Don is currently the one of the board members for the Miss Rodeo North Dakota organization. We're going to get to that here in just a bit. But here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, Don, it means a lot to you. You've been a supporter. You've been, I think you were a trustee chairman for a while, and you come to all the events. You were at East Greets West here recently. Talk about the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, what it means to you, and your favorite place within this building.
Well, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, to me is, I guess it'd be like the Shangri-La.
Okay. Sacred ground, maybe?
Very sacred ground. And in fact, our first president, Phil Baird, and I were just discussing this the other night on the phone. And it is sacred ground. I mean, all my heroes, I can look around this room. We talk about the North Dakota six-pack. I feel sorry for kids nowadays. There's a lot of professional athletes out there, and we have a lot of professional athletes in our sport. But how many of them get to be your friend or your mentor as you're coming up? And I mean, I can remember going to each one of those guys in the six-pack, and they, all through the years, I mean, they were friends. things that I didn't do quite right, I'd get my butt kicked. And they'd dang sure let you know it. But, and I loved each one of them. And I mean, when I'm standing in here, surrounded by all of the memorabilia from them, it's just something that kind of makes you, I don't know, it's just a different feeling in your heart. My daughter and I went down to, I was down at the American last year, and they had inducted Dwayne Howard into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame down there. And we went and checked on his picture down there and got some pictures of us with Dwayne's picture. And that means a lot to me when I see her go down to the National Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Sure.
And we have our people from North Dakota that are inducted, and deservingly so.
Yeah, yeah. I already knew the answer to the question that I proposed here just before about your favorite part of the building itself, and that's that Hall of Honorees upstairs. And that is sacred to you. That means the world to you. That's where the history is documented for everybody from here on out.
I mean, anybody that comes in here and wants to learn anything about one of our inductees, the complete history is there. I mean, and there's so many of them. I guess at my age, I'm very fortunate that I was there for most of the history on a lot of those guys. And it makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And I think just people coming in off the street, they're going to be very much amazed by walking in here. The other part of it is, we've had a lot of guests from other areas of the country, and I don't think I've heard of one that has not been totally amazed with what our building is, with our displays. They brag about us even to their own, especially the one that I'm thinking of is Larry Mahan.
Yeah.
Mahan brags about the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame wherever he goes.
Red Stiegel.
Red Stiegel, the same way.
Yeah. If you know Don, you know he's not one to hold back on his opinion now and then. And we started the program back in June, and you've watched it, and you've offered suggestions about cowboy stories. And you are a fan of these cowboy stories, and there's so many of them, and we're going to do our best to document what we can. But why are those cowboy stories so important to you?
It's part of our history, and that most of it is undocumented history. I just thinking back, I was judging a rodeo here a while back in New Salem, and Rusty Gilstead and I got talking, and we rodeoed together, and we saw a yellow dogging horse. And the first horse that came to mind was an old dogging horse that the Jorgensen boys had, named Parker's Trouble, and they just called him Trouble. Because he would, you never knew whether you were going to get a run out of him. I mean, he'd put you up on cattle, and I mean, he'd sail off and give you a shot at him. But he might also buck you off as soon as you nodded your head.
Wow. We're going to do our best to tell as many cowboy stories as we can in episodes to come. But we're here today at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame as Elise Burwell, Miss Rodeo North Dakota for 2022, is getting ready to embark onto the national finals in Las Vegas and compete for Miss Rodeo America. You, Don, are on the board with Miss Rodeo North Dakota. How long have you held that position?
I guess I've been on there for 4 years now, 5 years.
What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest thing that you feel that you're responsible for as a board member of Miss Rodeo North Dakota? I know you've got some great people you work with, like Cody Ann Miller, Miss Rodeo North Dakota 2014, and some of the others. What do you look at as far as your responsibility on that board?
Well, I'm the only male on the board.
Okay.
And that in itself, I've been married twice, and it's kind of like having another with 9 wives. But, they need a male perspective on it.
Right.
And I try to offer that part of it. I know I'll look at things a little bit different. Years ago, I had absolutely no use for rodeo queens. They were the most useless pieces of fluff that ever came along. Probably 18, 19 years ago, my impression of that changed. And part of that came with the advent of a lot of these humane groups and the groups that were trying to shut down rodeos. They're not going to come to me and talk to me. They will talk to a rodeo queen.
Right.
And if those rodeo queens are prepared they can answer these questions and set some of these people on the right track.
Okay, having said that, do you groom them to say, hey, this is what could possibly happen when you're in Salinas or you're in, Pendleton or these places? This could happen to you.
Definitely.
You must be prepared. Do you mentor them that way?
Yes, we do.
Okay. What do you tell them?
You know, we explain to them, that flank strap isn't hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
It tickles them, but it isn't hurting them. Those spurs are dull. They're not cutting them.
Mm-hmm.
These horses and bulls are born to buck. I mean, I can't think of any place that you could go or any place that you could, I wouldn't want to try to break one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've rode a lot of saddle horses, but I would never try to make one of them that are going down the road a saddle horse. So, I mean, they love what they're doing. And, and the queens are starting to understand that our queens are better prepared probably now than what they were in years past. Cowboy Channel's one of the advents of promoting our sport. The show that you're doing here is promoting our sport within the state of North Dakota thanks to Beck.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things happening. Elise, I think, has studied really hard this year. She's going to be going down to Miss Rodeo America in probably about 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's prepared. And Lisa's got a great personality, and that's the other thing. This program of Miss Rodeo North Dakota and a lot of the queen pageants bring out personalities on these young women. They're not sitting back and letting the world come down on them. They're speaking up with their voices, and to me that's very important. I've got 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters, and you've met both of them.
Wonderful, wonderul ladies.
And they aren't afraid to say what they've got on their mind.
I wonder where they got that from. I just wonder.
And those girls, and that's kind of the same thing I want to see with these queens.
Okay.
They're great young ladies. I probably have a little bit more to do with them in a lot of different aspects. I judge a lot of rodeos, so the queens wind up shagging cattle out of the arena, and I will yell at them.
Oh yeah? He's not one to hold back, I'm telling you.
And it's been great.
And the storied history of Miss Rodeo North Dakota. I mean, Brenda Lee Bonagowski Pickett and Ashley Andrews, went on to become Miss Rodeo America, and we're hoping the best for Elise. As far as you talking about mentoring these girls and coaching them, is there a line that you draw, that you step up to, and that you don't cross?
It's strictly rodeo.
Yeah.
It's strictly rodeo. I mean, that's all I've got to do with them. I mean, is just with the rodeo end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to know about their personal lives.
Right. The drama, leave the drama at home. Yes, understood. Is there anything that I haven't asked you, Dawn, that you would like to portray to our viewers, either about the rodeo, about the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, or the Miss Rodeo North Dakota organization? Have we covered everything that for now?
Well, a couple of things.
Okay.
One is, as far as Miss Rodeo North Dakota, folks, get your kids and your grandkids involved with it. It's a very well worth time,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to be good for the kids. These young ladies, you look at Ashley Andrews and the businesses that she has moved on into. There are a lot of things that they can expand, and it's just healthy for them. The other thing is, rodeo, #1 sport in the world as far as I'm concerned, and the best people that you're ever going to find.
You bet. One final thing, talk about your, is she on the board? Is Cody on the board?
Oh, yeah.
She's a director. Talk about your co-board member, Cody Miller, for a minute. Miss Rodeo North Dakota 2014. What a ball of fire she is, huh?
Oh, Cody Miller. I was a judge for the first pageant when she became Miss Rodeo Mandan, before she became Miss Rodeo North Dakota. And she was one of those girls. Same thing with Ashley Andrews. I was the judge for when she became Miss Rodeo Mandan.
Mm-hmm.
Those young ladies have something that is above and beyond. There's that, I guess the closest thing I could call it is pizzazz. They're good hands. They can ride anything that you want to stick them on. They have personalities that are outgoing. They can talk to you about anything under the sun.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just had the man who rode Moose Milk in his 50s to a score of 83. Wow, Don, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure. Let's tell some cowboy stories down the road, shall we?
That'll be a deal.
All right. This is Dakota Cowboy on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We're back in just a bit.
At Service Basin Transportation, just give us a call to arrange transportation within our 7-county ridership. We serve a large area, including many towns, in the Magic City or even to the capital city, Bismarck. Door-to-door service for less cost of an Uber, Lyft, or taxi. For shopping, for dining, for doctor's appointments, for visiting. It's Minot's most convenient way to travel to Bismarck, within Minot, or anywhere within our 7-county region. Service Basin Transportation.
Welcome to the start of Main Street, the main medical building located at 315 Main, downtown Minot. The unique shops inside offer body and mind healing, a safe haven for mothers-to-be, mixed martial arts, hair salons, massages, counseling services, and much more. Also keep a special lookout for a brand new Jamaican-inspired restaurant opening this fall. Take a stroll inside the main medical building and uncover the unique shops and experiences that lay within. Discover the start of Main Street at the main medical building today.
Hi, Rich from Law Motors. 45 years ago, Dad started selling cars. 35 years ago, I started selling cars. And 15 years ago, Tyler started selling cars.
And I'm Mom, and I told all of them, just be nice.
Whether you have guns, ammo, vehicles, toys, or collectibles, consign with Last Chance Auction and we can help put money in your pocket. Give us a call at 334-SOLD or visit lastchancesd.com for upcoming auctions.
Man has worked in sync with Mother Nature since the beginning of time. Relying on her to provide sufficient moisture every growing season is a roll of the dice. You can now insure your pastures and rangelands with Rainfall Index policy available from Chamley Financial. This will give you the peace of mind by knowing you will be protected from the adverse effects of Mother Nature. Contact Chamley Financial today, 719-338-3428, or go to chamleyfinancial.com.
JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision has built a reputation as one of the most reputable and reliable body shops in this region. With nearly 30 years in business, customers count on JR's to get it done right the first time. They'll work with your insurance company to smoothen the process. From their 40-foot frame straightening machine, Sickens paint, and the latest technology in the repair industry, they're the only name you need to know. For auto, semi, RV, and trailer repair, it's JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. North Dickinson, call 701-483-6778. JR's Auto Body and Truck Collision. For more than 70 years, farmers and ranchers have relied on Dickinson Ready Mix for all their concrete needs. Whether it's a shop building for machinery storage or paved feedlots for your livestock, grain bins for on-site grain storage, or precast pads for automatic cattle waterers, Dickinson Ready Mix has been there to provide quality concrete for all your agricultural structures and infrastructure. For your next project, call Dickinson Ready Mix to discuss the benefits that concrete can add to your operation.
Okay, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs?
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think, everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
Hey, welcome back to Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We're at the point of the program now where we bring you the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Hall of Honorees Inductee of the Week. This segment of our program is now proudly sponsored by our friends at Torgerson Automotive in Bismarck. Check out this good-looking 2020 Ford F-350. You'd look good driving it. Just get a hold of my buddies over there at Torgerson Automotive, and they'll get you behind the wheel. And they've got a lot of other great inventory, too, at Torgerson Automotive. Our Hall of Honorees Inductee of the Week this week is a longtime friend of mine. His son and I went to high school together. Our honoree is Franklin Tex Appledoorn. He won numerous calf roping and bulldogging and all-around titles in both the NDRA as well as the RCA. Here, Dean Meyer gives a great introduction to the 2003 Hall of Honorees inductee, Tex Appledoorn.
Well, the next cowboy, I think most of us here know quite well, and I think some of my first memories of rodeo probably involved when Tex Appledoorn was roping at the Wise Men Rodeo, and I think it's a wonderful thing. They're both coming into the Hall of Fame at the same time today, but Tex is a cowboy. I think if you read through the deal, he's won a lot of championships in the calf roping and all-around championships, and I think more than that to us that we're in Dunn County. Even when Tex wasn't rodeo, and he's a good friend and a good neighbor and involved in everything in the county, and just a wonderful family, and I appreciated the opportunity to know him the last 30 years and watch him and his family. So it's an honor. I'd like to introduce Tex Appledoorn, a friend to all of us here. Let's give Tex a nice hand.
Thank you, Dean. Well, I've known Dean for a long time, and whenever he gets up to speak, you know, we can always have a lot of fun. First of all, Governor Hoeven, First Lady, Board of Directors, trustees, relatives and friends. It's quite a thrill to be here. It sure is something that I guess I never dreamt about it, but I guess some things do come true. I'd like to thank the Board of Directors, the trustees, and anybody else that made this great honor a reality. When I was growing up, about all I thought about was horses, rodeo, cattle, and ranching. Girls never entered my mind for a while. But anyway, my mother said the first word I ever said was horse, so I must have really had it on my mind for quite a while. I'll be like Dean, I'll have to tell a short story about myself. We're only limited to 3 minutes, but where's Jim Tesher? I thought he's timing this, you know. If he'd be timing this like when he rode Bronx, you know, you'd be done right now 3 minutes, wouldn't you, Dean? Well, anyway, I have to tell you about my first horse. I'll cut her short, being we're running a little short on time. My first horse, I think I was about in the 8th grade. Well, I was raised in Dickinson, so I didn't have too many opportunities to get involved with horses. Finally, I saved up enough money to buy a horse. And, well, back then horses were pretty cheap. $20 would buy you a 2 or 3 year old. So there was a fellow north of Dickinson, he had quite a few horses, and I went out there, a friend of mine went along, and God, I picked out, I suppose, the flashiest looking horse there, you know. Because I liked that color, you know. You went to a lot of Gene Autry movies and Roy Rogers and all that. But anyway, we went to pick him up. I had a guy come with me that was pretty good handling horses and got him in the corral. God dang, the horse was blind in one eye. So that was my first horse. Well, then my dad thought, well, I better help him find a horse. So a lot of you know Bill McCarty used to be here in Medora. He always had a lot of horses. My dad brought me down here in the spring, and he had a bunch of horses on the flat, and that was my first horse, actually good horse. They could see out of both eyes anyway. Come right here from Medora. Well, get caught up here a little bit. Well, when I was in high school, I used to go to Schnell's Arena a lot when they were practicing and volunteer to push out calves. And I was sure wanting the calf rope pretty bad, but I never had a horse. And finally, I got a hold of a ranch horse that was been used on a ranch a lot, but I'd start chasing the calf and he'd crow up a little bit. And well, Howard Schnell and Willard said, well, if you want to learn how to be a pretty decent calf roper, you're going to have to get a horse that knows more than you do. Well, about a week later, I came out to the arena and Howard said, well, I bought a horse that Willard and I used to rope on some. Remember, she was an Appaloosa. I see Patricia Fitzloff sitting over her. Her hedger now. Her dad raised the horse. But anyway, the horse was 13 years old and cost $175. And boy, my dad found out, and he thought I was kind of loony paying $175 for a 13-year-old calf roping horse. But that was probably the best $175 I ever spent. Well, then after I got this calf roping horse, Raymond Schnell offered me a job at the auction market, and boy, that sure suited me fine because they had the arena right there where they always had the master champions. And I can remember Howard saying, you got to be pretty darn dedicated if you want to be a good calf roper. And don't go chasing girls, and I took his advice for a long time. And if it hadn't been for Raymond Schnell, Howard Schnell, Willard, I don't think I'd be standing here today. I mean, they helped me. They helped a lot of other people. They started the Match of Champions in Dickinson years ago that I know a lot of you went to. And boy, they went all out to help me, and Rex Cook also helped me. And I want to thank anybody that I missed that helped me this be a reality. I'll have to tell you one little short story here. At the rodeo at Killdeer, my calf roping horse got hurt, so I borrowed a horse. And that was back when he got off the horse on the left side and ducked under the rope. And this horse was known to shake his head when you duck under the rope. And I knew he did it, but I'd never roped on the horse, so I went and roped my calf, and I got off, and I went under. Well, I got too close to his head instead of staying close to his chest, and I got whacked in the head. Well, it's kind of hard to hurt a Dutchman, I guess, but anyway, I run down there and tied the calf, and I got done. I was blood all over, and I didn't know what happened, because when you're doing something like that, the adrenaline's pumping pretty good. Well, here I'd cut an artery on my head, and I was over by the gate, and Dr. Wolf was there from Dickinson. He said, "Boy, Tex," he said, "you better get to Dickinson right away and get that thing sewed up." Well, Doc Fitzloff, he was there. He was a dentist. He says, hell, man, he was my dentist too. But anyway, he said, "Tex, let's go to my office. I'll put you in the chair and I'll fix you up. You'll be back in time for the bulldogging." So Doc's daughter is over here, Patricia. She came along and she kind of nursed thing, and by God, got me back in time for the bulldogging. But anyway, I've got a few other stories I'd like to tell, but I know Dean's getting kind of restless back here. But again, I'd like to thank everybody that helped make this a reality. I appreciate everything you've done, and thanks again.
Tex retired from rodeo competition in the mid-1970s. However, after building a large indoor practice facility on his ranch, many competitors spent time honing their skills at that arena. Tex was also the president of the Killdeer Saddle Club for over 30 years. He was a board member for the North Dakota High School Rodeo Association and served for a time as Dunn County Commissioner. Our 2003 Hall of Honorees inductee in the category of Modern-era Rodeo, Franklin Tex Appledoorn. And our Hall of Honorees inductee of the week has been brought to you by our friends at Torgerson Automotive in Bismarck. We'll be back in just a moment here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Okay, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs.
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think, everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and in light of the recent events, your continued support means everything to myself and my employees. To thank you, we're having the biggest sale ever on all MyPillow bedding. Get MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $29.98. A set of pillowcases for only $9.98. In this economy, instead of buying a new bed, rejuvenate your bed with a MyPillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. We also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles, like plush, waffle, or gossamer for as low as $29.98. We even have pet blankets from small size to the ones for your car. Get huge discounts on duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to mypillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code and you'll get huge discounts on all MyPillow bedding, including MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $29.98. Get all your shopping in while quantities last. Please order now.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I'm a sixth-generation farmer, husband, patriot, father. And as much as I'd love to just sit here under this shade tree and celebrate my own place on my front porch, truth of the matter is that people don't know who, where, and how is producing their food. So travel the country with Trent on the loose, and we'll find those interesting human interest stories behind the people that bring us the efficient food supply. Trent on the loose.
The Wall of Honor pays tribute to local individuals from across the state of North Dakota. On digital indoor billboards, these heroes of the past and present are prominently featured with a photo, name, and their branch of service. Our funding is made possible by donations and advertisers like you.
As a veteran and as a board member, I couldn't think of a better way to help remember the service and sacrifice than celebrating and supporting the Wall of Honor.
Medora Boot and Western Wear open year-round in historic Medora. You'll find quality items for cowboys and cowgirls of all ages. Medora Boot and Western Wear has over 1,500 pair of boots on hand at all times. New this year, the R. Watson brand of boot, featuring an all-leather heel, riveted shank, and a 10-iron leather sole. Jeans, shirts, hats, caps, and more, and customer service is #1. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Let the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining add to your historic Medora experience. Open 7 days a week. Enjoy family dining at its best on our main floor, as well as the upper dining room and outdoor patio with a fabulous view of Medora and the Badlands. Try the bison ribeye, delicious pizza, and an entire menu filled with fabulous food for all appetites. A full bar with an impressive list of tap beer and more adult beverage favorites. Visit us at littlemosaloon.com and look for live music events happening regularly. History lives at the Little Missouri Saloon and Dining in historic Medora. Y'all come see us now, you hear?
Oh, it's so hard to believe that our time has come to an end here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. This past weekend was Medora's old-fashioned Cowboy Christmas, and with that, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame is now closed for the season. However, we will be open by appointment. Just give us a call at 701-623-2000. Be sure to follow us on Facebook for real-time updates and check out our website, northdakotacowboy.org. Thanks so much for spending your Sunday evening with us here on Dakota Cowboy. I so greatly appreciate it. Have a dandy week, and we'll see you next week here on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm Wild Bill. Adios.
Whether you have guns, ammo, vehicles, toys, or collectibles, consign with Last Chance Auction and we can help put money in your pocket. Give us a call at 334-SOLD or visit lastchancesd.com for upcoming auctions.
Beck TV is the 2022 best local TV station. For the second consecutive year, thank you again for voting us the best local TV station in the Bismarck Tribune's Best of the Best contest. We strive to continue to broadcast the most live and local sporting events in the region. Plus, we are the largest producer of uncensored news and opinion shows. Thank you again. Beck TV is the leader in local.
Lori Hins here with No Apologies on Beck, where we bring you our after-hours oasis of sanity.
They take away freedom of thought, which we're seeing with big tech.
Every Saturday and Sunday on Beck and Beck.News.
We are rewriting Hollywood's script for our kids. I'm pop culture expert Tina Griffin, and as a former Hollywood actress, I'm giving you a behind-the-scenes look at how today's entertainment is eroding the foundational development of America's youth and how to safely navigate this pop culture chaos. Knowledge is power. Parents want solutions. It's time to get the power back in your hands and reclaim the right to decide who and what should influence your kids.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rests on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have My Pillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing My Pillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.